Welcome to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things West Indies cricket. By the fans, for the fans. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another short edition of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. I'm one half of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, Machel St. Patrick Hewitt, and this one is finally, people have been asking me for so long, when are you going to pick your 11? When are you going to say who should start the World Cup? We've done so many videos over the last, literally over the last 3 weeks. We've done a World Cup squad video. We've done an Evan Lewis video, a Shea Holt video, a South Africa series preview video, a review of that South Africa series, a video on Shafane Rutherford. And at the time of recording yesterday, West Indies beat a down bad Australia B team by 30-something runs. I said before that game that I wasn't going to read too much into it. I think, and if you go back to the previous videos that we've done in the last, week or so, I'd always said, and I want to maintain consistency on it, I'd always said that the only reason that Australia game was important in any way was just maintaining momentum. It was definitely important for momentum, and I'll remain consistent in that I said I think it holds us in good stead to go into the World Cup with a run of wins behind us. Okay, so 3 wins versus South Africa, a win in a kind of glorified curry goat game versus Australia. Granted, an Australia shorn of 6 of their first choice players, but still a win. It means that going into the PNG game and then Uganda, assuming we put together 2 wins there, it means by the time we play the crunch games against New Zealand and Afghanistan, technically, if all goes well, we'll go into those games with 6 wins in a row. And I think momentum is a hell of a thing. And it certainly, momentum puts doubts in the mind of your opposition when they see, right now, lots of hot take cricket heads are going, oh, West Indies are a scary proposition. They look like they could be the dark horses of this competition. Look at their 6-hit in power. I'm not saying any of that isn't true. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that that's what momentum creates. That's what win after win creates. It creates a mind game element in your opposition that you may be better than you actually are. And it means that the opposition go into games with an element of a fear factor, because it means that people think, well, who can stop them? Whether we're that good or not almost becomes irrelevant, because people start to wonder if the team can be stopped. So momentum, hell of a drug. Now, moving on to the actual point of this particular video. So who starts versus PNG? And I didn't think too much about this, I didn't want to do one of those over analytical videos. I think when you're thinking about who starts versus PNG, the first thing you have to remember is PNG, right? This, for me, is very much a World Cup where it's got to be horses for courses. You pick the team according to the conditions and according to the level of opposition, according to things like how many right-hand versus left-hand batters do they have, according to who needs game time. I don't think this is as simple as just pick your best 11 or pick this man because they're the hype man or whatever it might be. I think you've got to just kind of weigh up what's the best team for this particular game. Now, bear in mind, and we're no different. We are no different to a lot of other teams in this World Cup. Some of our players have only just turned up from IPL. We saw that yesterday versus Australia. Pooran played his first game. Holt played his first game. Rovman played his first game. Shafane played his first game. Alzari played his first game. And when I say first game, I mean since returning from the IPL. When I wrote down my team, I also realized that it ain't easy. There are at least 4 players. Well, no, the 4 players I've left out, I could make a case Apart from maybe Hetmeyer. Hetmeyer's the only player. So there's a spoiler before I've even told you the team. I've left Hetmeyer out. And he's the only player in the 15 where I couldn't make any case, any legitimate case for his inclusion. When I really boiled it down, I was like, no, I just can't see any argument whereby you put Hetty in the team. In fact, that's a lie. As I just said that, I remembered an argument. The game's in Guyana. If those type of things matter, which they shouldn't, this is a World Cup. We ain't got time for insularity and pleasing people from different nations by playing their hometown guys. We shouldn't be doing that, and I hope we don't do that. But that's the only way Hetmeyer gets in my team for the first game, because we just happen to be playing in Guyana, right? But there's no playing for me. There's no playing logic to justify Hetmeyer over the team that I've actually got. So here I go. Let's just get into it. Let me not do any more rationale. So opening is easy. So 1 and 2 will be King and Charles. King didn't play in the warm-up game versus Australia. I mean, he just captained the team in the 3 games versus South Africa. So he's in the team. Obviously, that's a no-brainer. Johnson Charles, there would have been question marks about Johnson Charles due to the fact that he's a 1 in 3 guy. But as I said in previous videos, when Johnson Charles comes off, it tends to be a match-winning hand. He did that in the 3rd game versus South Africa B. And he did it briefly yesterday against, I can't remember what he did, but he what was it, like 30 odd of 20 something? I can't remember with Johnson, but he did all right in the game against Australia, down bad Australia yesterday as well. So King and Charles will open. There doesn't need to be any long debate about that. There's some of you who want to try and do that. Oh, maybe Rutherford should open, or maybe Hetmeyer should open. No, it's going to be King and Charles. Stop the foolishness. Number 3, Nicholas Puran. Nicholas Puran's our best T20 player. Simple as that. I'm not here for anybody's argument otherwise. I'm not here for people wanting to argue for their hometown guy. Nicholas Puran is our best T20 player. The only question mark about Puran, and say, do you know what? I said T20 player. Okay, let me be more specific. T20 batter. Although in terms of franchises, if you're a franchise and you're buying a T20 player, Puran's the one who goes for the most money. Anyways, Puran, the only question mark is whether he bats at 3 or whether he bats at 4. For argument's sake, I've got him at 3, but I understand that could possibly change. But we're talking about the Papua New Guinea game, so I'm just basing it on what I'm doing for Papua New Guinea. So Puran comes in at 3. Number 4 is going to shock some people after everything that I've said, after all of the videos that I've recorded. When push came to shove and I wrote my team down, this is who I have at number 4. Shai Hope. I have Shai Hope starting the World Cup for 2 reasons. When people are gonna be like, Mash, where's Chase? You were advocating for Chase. You believe Chase should be in the team. Yeah, I 100% believe Chase should be in the team. But when I wrote down my 11, I still opted for Hope. Let me explain why. The first game is at Providence. PNG, my belief is that they're going to come with a spin attack of sorts. However effective that is another question altogether. The whole point of bringing Shai Hope into the side when he got into the T20 side was they see him as somebody who can manipulate the strike in the difficult middle overs between overs 7 to 15, who can rotate the strike and then accelerate at the back end if he needs to be. They see him as somebody that the whole team can bat around, not too dissimilar to how we see him in ODI cricket. The whole team can bat around him, and he bats with a level of sense, shows urgency at the crease, so on and so forth. Obviously, CPL last year, Hope had a fantastic season for the Guyana Amazon Warriors, who won CPL. He's familiar with the conditions. I just think you have to go with Hope in this first game. People are going to talk to me about 6th bowler later on. I might address that in a minute, but Hope is in the team for me for the first game. He'll bat at number 4. Number 5, Rodman Powell. Don't need to discuss him. He's the captain. That's his spot. That's obvious. 6. So who have I got at number 6? Shafane Rutherford. So, again, some people come for me. Some people throw pelters at me and say, oh, but you did a video on Shafane Rutherford. Yeah, I did. But I wasn't the dunce who didn't listen to what I said in the video. At no point in the video did I say I'm not playing Shafane Rutherford. All I did in the video was outline some evidence, outline some facts, and give some scenarios. What some of you do when you listen to videos, and maybe this is the fault of the kind of media generation, the YouTube generation, who see a title, don't watch the video, or maybe watch 15% of the video, don't pay attention to the points that are being made, or worse, watch the video but then project your own points onto my points as if I made the point that you said. Listen, I'm not a dunce, I'm really not a dunce out here. Go watch the video again. I outlined facts, I outlined evidence, I gave some scenarios, and then I ended it by saying, you pick what you would do. I never gave my personal opinion. I've got Shafane Rutherford at 6. The reason I've got Shafane Rutherford at 6 is I wanted another left-hander in the top 6. The only other option, if you don't have Rutherford, is Hetmeyer. All I wanted to see in yesterday's Curry Goat game against Australia was what kind of form was Rutherford in. If he was going to bat, I just needed to see, could Rutherford laying down some balls? Could he show that he wasn't match rusty? He showed me enough last night to let me know, okay, he's not rusty. From when he's not rusty, from when he's looking like he's still seeing the ball cleanly, he's got to play. That was the only concern I ever had. Would he come into this tournament looking like he's not match fit? Match fit, for those who don't understand, doesn't mean your specific fitness. It means just match ready. Was he match ready? Having not played cricket, a proper match in 2.5 months, nearly 3 months, I just needed to know, was he match ready? Like I say, the Curry Goat game yesterday showed me he's still match ready. Laying down some balls, 40-something off, 18 balls or something like that. He's match ready. We need a left-hander in the top 6, so he has to play. So I've got Rutherford in at number 6. 7. And believe it or not, this is I'll get to this point I won't do it at the end. This is the player who I think could not play against PNG, Andre Russell. Now, obviously, some people are going to say to me, what do you mean Andre Russell might not play? It's just whether, respectfully, do we need to play Andre Russell versus PNG? Now, some people will say yes. But the only reason I had a question mark in my head about Dre is that Dre played all of IPL. And there may just be, not only did he play all of IPL, he won the competition, right? And was seen as a super valuable player, took loads of wickets for KKR. There might just be a notion in their head where they say, you know what, Dre? Hold a little meds and rest ahead of the World Cup. You played a long IPL. It's workload management. We're trying to go far in this tournament. We don't want to just fly you in and play you straight away. They may just tell Dre to hold a little meds and come in for the second game versus Uganda. So when I wrote the team down, I was like, obviously Dre is in the team. If all is well and they're picking everyone and everyone's available, Dre starts. If they're thinking, like in my head, I'm thinking that they might just give Dre a little piece of a rest, then I think Chase may come into the side. But for now, for argument's sake, if it's about just what's the best team they're going to pick, Dre's at number 7. Romario Shepherd's at number 8. Don't need to discuss that. That's obvious. Akil Hussain is at number 9. The game is being played at Providence. They're going to want minimum 2 spinners. Bare minimum, they'll want 2 spinners at Providence. So the only question people have to ask themselves is it Moti and Chase or is it Moti and Hussain? There is an argument for Chase to get into this side somewhere. But I think you start the tournament with who are your 2 frontline out-and-out spinners. And for this game, horses for courses, I think they go Akil. Akil at number 9. Moti, obviously our best bowler, number 10. And then here's the final bit. So who's number 11 then? So far in my team, I've not got Shamar, I've not got Obed, I've not got Chase. Obviously, Hetty isn't in my side. So at number 11, I've got Alzari Joseph. Has to be Alzari. Alzari Joseph is our most experienced T20 bowler, fast bowler. He, granted, started IPL, then had some down bad games, then never got picked. we cannot afford to not pick Alzarri Joseph in this first game, because if there is any doubt about where he's at, given he rolled bench for 90% of IPL, he needs to. We can't. I mean, Joseph Alzarri is like Rutherford. In my mind, you can't not start the tournament with them and then have to thrust them in later on with even more games of not playing, if you see what I mean. I think if we're gonna assess where they're at, they have to start the tournament. Alzarri has to start. Go look at his stats in T20 cricket over the last year, and in his career for the West Indies, but also in the last year and a bit, or whatever it is, he is effective. Apart from Multi, he's our next most effective bowler. Alzarri has to play. He is our pack leader with the ball when it comes to T20 cricket. Shamar Joseph cannot play ahead of him. Obed McCoy cannot play ahead of him. And we need to get Alzarri up to full speed, which means he must play from the jump. He gets these 2 games against PNG and Uganda to get himself up to speed. So for me, it's a no-brainer. Alzarri starts. So that means that on my bench, I've got Shamar Joseph. There's no spot for him. Yes, it's in Guyana, but there's just no spot for him. No spot for Obed McCoy yet. And I hasten to add for Shamar and Obed, I'm talking about yet. No space for Shamar Joseph. No space for Obed McCoy. No space for Roston Chase, which is controversial because I spent a lot of time saying he needs to be in the team. And no space for Hetty. Of those 4, I can see a scenario where Chase does get in. I cannot see any scenario for Hetty. Apart from if they want to play the Guyana homeboy crowd thing. And Shamar and Obed, the only way I can see them getting in is if you drop one of Akil or Multi. And I just don't see that happening. Remember, though, that I said that, so of the team that I've picked, the 2 players most at risk in my mind are Shea Hope, who I think if they don't play, they'll play Roston Chase, and Andre Russell, who I think they may choose to rest just because he had a long IPL. But who gets in instead of Dre? Well, that's another question altogether. So just one more time with feeling. This is my first 11 for the game versus PNG. I think you've got to pick what you consider to be your best 11 in the first game. It's a World Cup. As much as I'm saying we should beat PNG and we should beat Uganda, the only way I'm saying that is you pick your best 11. And this is the best 11 in my mind. Brandon King, Johnson Charles, Nicholas Pooran, Shea Hope, Rovman Powell, Shafane Rutherford, Andre Russell, Romario Shepherd, Akil Hussain, Gudakesh Multi, Alzarri Joseph. Yes, that is only 5. Well, technically it's only 3 frontline bowlers and 2 bowling, batting all-rounders without a 6th bowler. In that team, Rovman or Shafane would have to bowl some makeup overs if we need it. But I think you can do that versus PNG. I think you can do that versus Uganda. By the time we get to New Zealand and Afghanistan, my first 11 probably might have changed because it's horses for courses. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Machel St. Patrick Hewitt. Make sure you listen to the video all the way through before you get in the comments below and start sending me dunce comments which clearly didn't take in what I was actually saying. Listen all the way through, then formulate your opinions. I'll see you in the comments below. Maybe we'll cuss each other out, but I saw it go. I'll be Machel St. Patrick Hewitt, one half the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. As ever, you can find us at Carib Cricket, Twitter, Instagram, TikToks, Facebook, all of that, Patreon, all of that. Like, share, subscribe. If you want to support for as little as £1, £1, £1, $1, whatever, www.patreon.com/Carib Cricket. As ever, I'll be back with some more content. The next time we record something, Santoki should be back from his travels in France, spreading the good news of Caribbean Cricket Podcast and West Indies cricket. See you then.
We rule the cricket world. Now the rules seems coming.
Welcome to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things West Indies cricket. By the fans, for the fans.